By the time you come to the fourth session, you should have spent time and worked through the workbook up to page number 45. You should make sure that you have attempted all the exercises that are inside the workbook, and you are conversant with your business idea, you are conversant with the planning stages of the business on page, especially on page number 25, and you have done all the exercises that are inside the workbook, and you pretty have a good idea whether your business would be profitable or not. Should your idea not be profitable, you are requested to go back to the beginning of the workbook, to the beginning of the video, and you try to find out exactly if where you are advised to go back and pick another business idea. You have to keep doing this until you have a business idea that you are comfortable implementing and making sure that it works out. It's also important to emphasize that when you have done all this and you filled in the exercises that in the workbook, you should have a business plan. We should be showing you very soon how a business plan looks like and the details that comes with that. So the best business plan that happens is a business plan that you have written by yourself. Now, I'm going to try and explain to you something that I've found to be very troublesome, especially with small businesses. But before I do that, I'm going to try and use an example that you would probably want to appreciate and be able to understand a little bit better. Now, excuse my drawing, but I'm going to try and draw the diagram of a heart and how the heart looks like, of 4 sections. And you pretty have this side, let's say blood flows out from here, and blood flows comes in back from this side. So this should be if you look, and this is the left side, it should be the right ventricle, and this should be the left ventricle. Now, we all know that when blood is getting out of the heart, it flows it has oxygen in it as it's going to the other parts of the body, but when it's coming back, it doesn't have any. One time I had an accident, and I would spend a lot of time in the hospital, and the reason was that when the nurses came to measure my BP, they found that my upper blood pressure was higher than normal, and the lower blood pressure was lower than normal. So a normal human being, the doctors would tell us, it maybe has 120/80, this being the BP, meaning that when blood is flowing out of your heart, it is flowing out at a faster rate. Let's say it's 120 times faster, but when it's coming back, it's coming back at a lower pace. Now, if I were to ask you, as you're watching, as you're listening to me, if we were to ask you, does this resemble your pocket? You probably would say, yes, I think it was by God's nature that he created things moving out fast, because you actually see that money moves out of your pocket faster than it comes in. And when you have that, you have what we call a cash flow problem. You have cash flow issues or problems that you have to sort out. And cash flow is important to a business in that a business must be able to control the amount of money that goes out. It must be able to control the amount of money that comes back in. Because if you find that you're spending money before you make it, you end up in the negatives. So actually, if you're tracking your business and you're tracking your cash flow, we're going to use the very basic flip chart here to show you exactly where the trouble may be coming from. Now, assuming that in your business you have an opening balance of $80, assuming that all these were dollars, that we have here, that assuming that you started your business and on the opening day you had $80. But when you had to make money, there was no one that came to buy goods from you. So you got in zero money. And the expenditure for the month, for the week, was 30. Because like we have broken up the month, let's say this would be your first month. Let's say this was your first month of operation, first month. And we have broken up the month in 5 weeks. We have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5. So assuming that you have paid, your expenditure is $30, and then your only payment is $5. You find out that by the time you end the month, the week, you have $45 remaining. Now you start, because your closing balance will always be your opening balance in the second week. When you open the next week, you start with 45. And now people know you. They are beginning to know where your shop is, and you are selling some beds. where your workshop is, and you sell beds for $5, and the expenditure goes up by 32, and it goes to 32, and your only payment will always be $5 because I will show me that you borrowed the money. So in that case, you may be able to find that actually by the time you finish the second week, you have $13. Now, when you start the next week with $13 and you make some money, as in income coming in into your business or revenue, you'll find that you have made income of $25 coming in, and then you have expenses going up, and now they are 40, and you still have to pay $5 that you normally pay, and the result is that you actually end up with a -7, meaning that your business does not have enough money to run it. You're getting into some trouble. And even if your business, if you get into this, then you have to think very clearly, what do you need to be able to do to make this work out? What do you need to be able to do to make your business get out of this lurch? Because actually when you open the next week, you're opening with a -7. Now here, most people tend to argue that the business has failed, that the business is making losses. Actually, this business could still be profitable, but the person has been selling on credit, has been selling not necessarily recovering the money. So in this case, what is expected is that you sell goods on a cash basis, you get your money, or if you can borrow some money, you're welcome to be able to do that. But if not, you have to concentrate on making sure that you have cash coming in, or you have to go and borrow or bring money from your pocket to make your business work. So in this case, if you were lucky this year, this month, you make $90 in cash, and then you have expenses going up to 66. You have a loan payment of 5. Now I want you to note something here, that the loans, the amount of money you pay goes up, and you have to ask yourself why. Whenever I sell more, why do my expenses go up? The answer is simple. It is simple in the sense that because if you look at when you sold, you had 0, but you sold 0 and you had an expense of 30. Now, from this class, we can safely assume that this was your fixed cost. This was your fixed cost. So whatever, the more you sell, the more expenses you have, the more variable costs that you have. That's why when you sell $90, you actually have a higher cost coming up. So the more you sell, the more expenses you incur, especially variable cost. And that's why fixed costs have been called costs of being in business. Fixed costs are called costs of being in business. But the variable costs have been called costs of doing business. So that's the difference between the two. So when you wind up on your 4th week, you're actually now back into the good books, and you have a positive $12. You start the next week with $12, and you make another $90. You know, yes, the expenses would be 66 because the expenses hasn't changed. It's 66, and you have $5 to take care of, and the result is that you finish your week with $31 as in the positive. Now, my experience with working with cash flow in my own business is that cash flow is very critical. In fact, I have called it the malaria of small business. Just like if a young kid gets sick with malaria very easily, if a small business gets problems with cash flow, it could easily get into trouble. Please mark the points here. You are getting in trouble here, but you are almost about to start making money. So if you don't sort yourself out, a business that actually is profitable could fail because it's not managing its cash properly. And that's the problem of cash flow. So in fact, what you advise to do is that always be a little bit late to pay your suppliers, and be a little bit eager to collect from the people that you give money, so that you always have money to pay your suppliers. If you have a shop and you are getting, or if you have a charcoal stall, you're getting credit for 40 days, don't give people credit for 50 days. Give them a little bit lower, so that you always have money that you have to be able to pay. Cash is important. In fact, we have an example here in the workbook. I will say that if you looked at the American dollar, and if you looked closely here, and you probably looked at it closely, you'll be able to see that it says the United States of America. This is a $10 figure. But down below, you actually would be able to find out that it says, "In God we trust." And for them, they say, "In God we trust, all others pay cash." So wherever you can in your business, be eager to always sell on cash, because cash basic cash is important. So that's the way you can keep your business moving. So that's the issue with cash flow. I hope that you take care of that and you are able to know when you are making money, but make sure that you always get people to pay you on time. Now, when you have a profitable business and you have balanced the cash flow and it's coming in, then you know if you can see it on paper working out, you have a chance of a business that will succeed. Now, with that in mind, you have to look at viability. It's not just enough to make positive cash flow. It's not just enough to make enough profit, just make profit. What is important is that the profits that you are earning in your business are able to sustain the business, replace the equipment that you have purchased, replace, be able to pay your staff a decent wage. You don't want to run a sweet shop. Make sure that you can be able to meet those expenses. So the profit here, it now tells you whether you're likely to succeed in the business and whether it's likely to make you money. With that sorted out, then you can go ahead and implement your idea. It's now you have more of the thing that you need, but there is something that you need still to be able to cover and to be able to make a difference in your business. Now, when we have gone to places, most people have told us that one of the challenges as a business person that you'll find is that you're going to have to be able to know where to get the money to start your business. It's important. Now, they are what we call the sources of business finance. Now, in your area, they could be microfinance, or they couldn't be there. In your area, they could be things that you could be able to think about. But we've tried to condense what these ideas into some global sources where you could be able to go and talk to somebody. But you've got to have to convince somebody that you have a business plan that works out, and then you can look at these sources of business finance. Now, the critical ones, we've put them at about 6. You could say, if you wanted to source money to start your own business, the first place that you are going to have to go to is your own pocket. Now, that's scary because sometimes there are not enough money in that. But the point is that people are prepared to help you to finance your business idea if you have some money that you are willing to put down. It may not be so much. If you're looking for $100, even if you have $10, but then the point is that you're going to have some of that money. May I remind you that in the developing world, most small businesses start with between $100 and $500. You're not likely to have more than that. Anything more, if you look for more than that, maybe you could be looking for a larger sum of money. But in any case, you need to be able to know that you have some money. It's always the best thing. Some people will tell me that they need to go and work and earn a salary, make some savings, or sell their property or inherit something. That's the first source of business finance. The second source is loans from friends, relatives, and donors. People that you know, people that can stand with you, that know that you want to get better. I certainly want to get better, but I may not know where the money you're going to get. But here is one source that you can look at, is your friends, relatives, and donors. There are many people that are willing to help. But the issue is that you tell people that you're going to have a chance. If you invest in me, I'm not going to come back. If I'm telling your brother, your uncle, that I'm going to start a business and I'll be able to look after myself, then but this is a place you could go. That's the safest bet, the second bet that you can look at. The other one is trade credit. Trade credit is important in that the global trade almost revolves. It's a fulcrum of global trade, and that's because here, people supply goods on credit and they are paid back after some time. So in a way, they are financing your shop to stay open. They are financing your store to stay open. And when you make some money, you take off yours and you pay the original owner. When it comes to credit, the rule is simple. You must pay the people that gave you the credit. Because if you not, they will blacklist you. And if one person blacklists you, the trouble would be that many other people will not be able to trust you again. So trade credit is important. Even international trade moves around this. So when you get a chance, try to see that you can combine these ones to find a business that you could be able to start. Now, we have put the others in red for the mere fact that when you look at these facilities all, they have one thing in common. It is called interest. And interest is what we pay to borrow money. And it's normally expressed in percentage terms. It's always expressed in percentage terms of what you're paying. Now you have to know, and I have to stress this, that Interest is always a burden to a business, especially small starting business. So the higher the loan that you take, the higher the burden that you are taking on, because somebody expects you to pay him whether you are making a profit or not. And that's the main important thing to look out for. That's why we've put them in the red. We've ranked microfinance circles and all groups together for number 4, meaning that these are easily available in our communities, at least most of the countries that we know of. They are easily available. So you could easily go here, and sometimes their loan terms are always more flexible, and the amounts that they are seeking always are a little bit friendly to a person starting a business. However, I rarely recommend somebody to start a business with a loan. I rarely recommend. I probably would say that if by the time you get here, these people actually, the view would be that they're trying to punish you for not having enough of your money, for not having friends, and for no one to trust you. Second interest is a kind of punishment. But if you know you can pay it back, that's not a problem. Please go ahead and borrow the money. Now, when it comes to bank loans, bank and their issues, it's been a topic that is hot in the developing world and many parts of the world. Bankers are not the favorite people, but they have a reason. They have to protect people's money. But because banks always sometimes ask collateral, and their lending regime is a little bit stricter. So that's why we put them on number 5. We're not saying they are bad, but they're saying that they normally need collateral. And if you are a small person starting a business, this may not be the area where you may want to go. Let alone when you have grown up, they may be able to lend you some money. Their interest may be lower than microfinance, but they're not that much accessible for a startup of maybe $500. So then the last one are money lenders. Money lenders are people that charge very, very exorbitant interest. They are normally individuals, and they charge maybe, if you're lucky, they may charge you 16% per month. But I've also been to a city like Blantyre in Malawi, where they are charging more than 50% per month. So my advice to you is that you try to avoid these. These are not recommended to start a business. We'll cross them out. And I have even said that whoever borrows money from a money lender, in most cases, it's a case of financial indiscipline. Unless you have a problem, but it's financial indiscipline to borrow money from a money lender. Because where can you get the money if they are charging you per month and it's compounded? If you don't pay today, you try to pay in the next time. So these are the sources. My view as a trainer is that you try to combine pieces of this, so that by the time, for example, if you get 20% of this, 20% of this, 20% of this, by the time you go to microfinance, you only have 40% to borrow. That way you have less interest to pay when you're starting your business. So when you're thinking of where to get money, these are some of the areas where you could think of raising your startup money. And I hope you succeed. You raise your own money, you start your business, and I would love to hear from you when your business have started and you are doing well. Now we know where we're getting the business. We know some of the issues that come with. So now, by getting enough money to start your business, you are actually now ready and on your way to be able to start your own business. At the end of the workbook, there is a business plan. If you've been able to access it, if you look closely, it tells you where you should be able to go and do a business. In the black notes that you're seeing, it says business plan. And if you read, you'll find that you can be able to put in your contact details, your name and contact details, then your experience, why you want to set up the business, why do you think it's a suitable business for you. But then you'll find a brief description of the intended business, what do you want to set up the business. But before I read everything here that is here, which you can find on the website and be able to download the workbook, you have to find out that there is always black notes on the side of the question that they are asking you. And these questions relate to the pages where you can be able to get the answers in the workbook. And that way, if you get the answers, fill them in until you have finished everything, you have a workable business plan. So you don't have to pay for anyone to prepare for you a business plan if you've been through this course. And I can tell you, the business plan that you would be able to produce through here would be able to stand even to a banker's scrutiny. So please go ahead, spend some time, fill up your business plan to make sure that you know what you need to be able to do. Now that you know everything that you have covered through this course, I take it that you can be able to go out and start your own business. But some people would say, no, I need more information. I need to be able to understand better. The issue is that sometimes there are things that we only learn as we go on. So I encourage you, don't wait until you have all the information in the world to start a business. Maybe that may not happen, but go out and do something about your situation. You have an ability. It's possible. You can do it. So many people have been starting businesses for centuries. Probably you can't be able to do that yourself. Now, after you've started the business and it's up and running, there are some things that then you need to be able to know as you are doing your business. And these are what we call the principles of running your own business. We've listed some of these. We can't claim that we have an exhaustive list, but at least the list that we have can actually help you to identify those the critical ones that you can be able to find. The first one and most critical one is that do not confuse your business finances with your personal finances. When you set up a business and you say, I've put $100 aside for a business, let it remain for the business. Don't eat the money. Only eat what profit comes out of that when you have paid yourself. So do not confuse your business finances. Even when you have one or two businesses, please separate them so that they are also different from you. So you can record them. Have some records that can tell that this business is different from the other. If you don't do that, you confuse your business. You claim your business is not profitable, but when you actually could be the problem to it. So when you have to take money out of the business, know that you are only taking money from the profits. It doesn't pay to kill your business when you are eating the business. I've seen people when they've started a business that is making pancakes and they give away the pancakes, they eat it, and they say claim the business is not profitable. So when you take money out of the business, take it from profit and never from out of operating funds. And operating funds are that amount of money that helps you to cover your trading costs, especially the fixed and the variable cost. That is your operating funds. Then treat your customers with respect and care. It's important. No business can exist without a customer. No business can be able to make a living. You can't make a living unless somebody buys from you. And that's important. So treat your customers with care. Many words are used here: customer care, customer relationships. All these are important. And please find out what is your customer policy. How are you going to win customers from you? As you have seen before, and if I may go back to this, customers are very funny people. Every day dollars are exchanging hands to buy goods and services in whatever currency that you could be talking about. But this is a vote. People vote with this. They vote to who stays in business and who gets out of business. So by knowing that this was going to happen, attract as much votes as possible. And your votes could be the dollars, could be the naira, it could be the franc, whatever your currency is. But the situation is that attract more of these and you'll be in business. You stay in business. The other one is you give God a place of honor in your business. I don't mind your faith situation, but please remember that your faith is important in your business, because what does it serve a man to eat the word and not go to heaven? I'm a Christian and I honor that. But be faithful. Do what is necessary. Don't do something that takes you out of line with your faith. And then you have to maintain values in your business that will make God pleased. So that's important. That's one self-explanatory. So you treat your customers, is number 6, is that you treat your customers with care and respect. It's important, because employees are the people that meet, deal and serve our customers. So if we don't treat them fairly, our customers are likely to get a poor service. So I like to be able to treat my customers well, so that they can be able to treat your employees with respect and they will do you good. Now people say if you treat your employees well, they will take care of you when you need them to do that. And lastly, on number 7, we say update all your process flows and plans to reflect that that's what's really happening. Always have a chance to go through your business and see where you could be able to improve it. Where can you be able to do better? How can you be able to improve the service that you're offering or the product that you are making, so that you can be able to stay in the market and compete? It's that critical. So these are the principles, and I encourage you, I invite you to be able to read on these. And yes, there are some more that you could be able to add on, like when you have to keep your financial records up to date at all times. This is number 8. And it's important. Records are what tells you what happened yesterday. Records are the one that tells you what was your plans, what were your expectations. So keep your financial records up to date at all times. It doesn't have to be fancy or complicated. Just having a notebook and a pen will do, so that you can be able to know exactly how much did I sell last month, how many customers did I serve, how many beds did I sell, in which day did I sell them. So these records help you to find out if you have the right data that can help you make good decisions. And always use some of your profits to find ways to improve your business. That's critical. I like businesses that grow. I like businesses that add value. I like businesses that are able to make a difference in the lives of the people that are learning them and in the community where they are. So, and also, as a rule, I probably want you to agree with me and maybe make me a promise that when you have succeeded, you help somebody to get out of poverty in the long run. So as more people get out of poverty, then the world may be a safer place to live in or a better place to live in. Now, those are the rules, and I encourage you to put on more of your own if possible. And we encourage you to actually go out and live by them, because a man lives by his principles. If you don't waver, be strong and adhere to them, and you have a successful business. Now, we have a little poem here as we come to the end of this video. We have a little poem here that we would want you to remember, and maybe remember that some other people have thought about what is the challenge that you're facing. The issue is here, there was a poem written by an Englishman called John Lowe, and it says, "Come to the edge," and it says, "It's too high, come to the edge, we might fall, come to the edge," and they came, and he pushed, and they flew. I hope that you fly when you start your business. I hope that you can succeed. I hope that one day you'll be able to say, yes, I did the right thing. You can be able to set up, get a good job yourself, and be able to employ others, give them employment. Now that you have everything that you need, I really hope that you can be able to set up a business and go out and prosper. I would love to hear from you if you can. Get us on our contact details as they scroll down, so that we can know if this has been useful in your life, and it can uplift you, and it will be uplifting to us to hear your testimony and your take. You've been watching this video that was developed as a result of the training that was developed by reconcile.org using setting up your own small business, and with the training is based on version 1.6 of the workbook. It's a training that has been effective, and we hope that it has been useful to you. And me, the person that has been doing the training, my name is Livingstone Mukasa. I'm based in Kampala, Uganda. I'm a businessman, and I'm married with 3 kids, and I love my children. And I really am passionate about eliminating global poverty. And because I came from a poor family myself, I really want to see that being possible, to make it possible to be able to wake up and do something and be able to get out of poverty. So my view is not to get rich alone, but to get to see people rising out of poverty. If you would want to get the training, get in touch with us on the contacts that we have. It's possible. We can come to your country. We can come to the place where you are. If you live in Uganda, we have trainers that can be able to go to any part of Uganda, and most of the time we can be able to look for our own resources. But if you are coming from another country, if you're coming from parts of Africa, Southeast Asia, or South America, wherever you could be, we would want to get in touch with you to help you set up your own training program. We can come and train the trainers that would help to cascade the training in your communities. You're reminded that there are versions of this training workbook, but if you need to translate it in your language, please get in touch with us. We'll give you a blank copy of what you could be able to use to do this training. We know that this training would be useful in the community that you're serving, if it's in the community that you're living in. If you want to do it on your own, you're welcome. It doesn't cost a lot of money. We don't do it because we want to get money. There are resources that are required, yes, but it's not that the people that do the training, do we want to get money out of it. And I hope it's a blessing. Thank you, and God bless you.